Alrighty. Welcome to Romera Records virtual cast. Today we have on Andre Paradis. How's it going, man?
Good, my man.
Awesome, awesome. So yeah, got you from Podmatch and decided to have you on the podcast and talk about what you do. So if you could, let's just go ahead and get straight on into the things that you do, who you are, and how you really got started into it.
So, long story short, I'm a man who had difficult challenges as a child in my family. So I ended up developing my brain being confused with life, people, circumstances as a child had me kind of sort of questioning everything. And so I became an observer of human beings, an observer of people to explain my circumstances, right? To try to understand, decode life. And so I've always been curious about the human condition, trying to explain my own, but watching people. And I was the kid in school that was always watching, and remember, like, there was a guy in junior high who was like 14 years old or so, right? And he was lean with shaggy hair and swag, and he used to fluff his hair, and the girls would fall over just the way he fluffed his hair, right? And I'm like, how does it get to be like so cool? He's 15 years old. Like, what, but he owned it. He had it. It was in his flesh. And then there's me all awkward. And then another guy who, is chunky and can't look people in the face and completely out of sort everywhere. And like, how does that work? Right. So that was always my go-to. Curious, 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 and watching people in the human condition. So by the age of 23, I started doing personal development workshops before they were even popular. My friends go, let's go to the beach this weekend. I'm like, well, no, I'm in a workshop like Saturday, Sunday. And they go, what the hell's wrong with you, dude? I'm like, I'm learning. I want the best life possible, and I know nothing. Relationship, money, dynamic, business. Like, I don't know anything, right? They don't teach you this shit at school. So that was my brain. I would constantly just dig in. 2006, I'm in business workshop. At the time, I owned a car business in Los Angeles after I quit my dancing career. So I settled in Los Angeles with the car business. But again, within a few years, I'd taken it, with my knowledge in my head, I took the business to all I could do with it at that point. And I thought, that's not good enough. I want to raise the ceiling. So, of course, I take a business workshop. I did half a dozen of them, actually. And at one point, this 2006, I'm in San Jose, California, which is Northern California. Where are you? I'm curious, by the way, Jackson.
I'm in Memphis, Tennessee.
Tennessee, in
Yeah.
the South. Awesome. So, Northern California, south of San Francisco. So I'm in the 3-day workshop about business, taking notes and learning shit and blah, blah, blah. On the flight back, because we flew up to Los Angeles, I'm sitting with two people that I met at the workshop. Thought it was random. Now I realize life is never random. Seriously, it's impossible for it to be random for my entire experience and everything that connected the dots to get me here. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But on the flight back, the woman says to me, "What do you do next weekend?" And I go, "Well, I'm free next weekend. Why?" She goes, "You want to come to a workshop? It's on me." I'm like, "Hell yeah!" Right? I'm a workshop head, and those things are expensive. It's on me. She says, "Yeah, of course." And then I go, "Wait, what's the workshop about?" She goes, "Oh, it's the company I work for. It's called Understanding Women."
It's gonna be a long workshop.
You said it. But for me, it was more like, wait, really? Like, really? There's such a thing as saying women, right? Like, so it kind of made me chuckle a little bit. Then I remember thinking, God damn, like, I'm gonna spend a weekend workshop. Like now you have to understand without arrogance that I'm I have an artistic personality. I have an ease with the ladies. Just for some reason, I make them feel safe. So I always attracted sweet women. When you meet my wife, people go, "Oh wow!" Like that's always the kind of ladies I've attracted. So understanding women, like I don't need this. I mean, like, be sweet, don't yell, don't raise your voice, be connect, talk more, right? I like, okay, really? Anyway, so thought it was gonna be cute. I thought it was gonna be cute, honestly, but I went because I said I would. So it was in a big airport hotel by the airport, Los Angeles. I walked into space, 9 o'clock in the morning, Saturday morning. 400 people in the space. Oh, okay, wait. And then I got the vibe like, this isn't cute. This isn't gonna be cute. Something is going on here. Something's big is about to go on here. And sure enough, at the end of the workshop, my brain was all over the walls. Like literally, just my brain exploded. It was splattered on the freaking ceilings. I think I slipped off my chair 7 times throughout the workshop. Like literally, just slipped off my chair with disbelief of the things that I was learning. And the lady who led the workshop. It was her company, and constantly, every time we had one of those big moments where we're like, "Wait, this is impossible! Like that makes no sense, right?" Because there's half the room was men learning this stuff, as half the room was women, even learning this stuff for themselves, which is because women don't necessarily know why they act the way they act. Like us men don't necessarily know why we're motivated by the things that we do necessarily. We do, but we don't, right? So the mix of the room was incredible, and she was smart enough to have a woman sitting on both sides of us, man. So everybody was mixed up. And when we had one of those big moments, she goes, "Just so you don't think it's me in front, crazy woman, just take a minute and check with the ladies next to you." And we'd have these big draw, like, and we, take a break and we go, "No, yeah. What? How do you? This is impossible. It makes you. That's how we are. What? That's gonna make you crazy. It does. That's why we're a little crazy. But we don't say that, right? We don't talk about. And back. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Like confirming what I just learned. And anyway, so at the time I'm married. We have a baby and a toddler. Right. My wife. About 8 years at the time. I, I'm not looking for this stuff. We're doing great. My wife has 5 brothers. She's very easy to be with. She understands men, right? She's not one of those who's always like, "Why do you guys?" Right? She's just 5 older brothers, right? I can't even gross her out. She's that cool, but she's still a woman. Do you understand? And she still has the things that would confuse me. Like, like women confuse men, men confuse women. We're different machine. We operate completely differently. There's no equality in our beings, right? We're equally as important, but we're not the same, and that's part of what's out there that's messing people up in my world, right? A man should be like a girl, a girl should be, no, 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 that's not how nature has it. This backwards. Anyway, so I realized in that workshop, I came home, she said I was white as a sheet because I was actually upset because I got scared. I realized first, I knew nothing about women, which is in itself was bizarre coming from my background. But second, I realized what was dangerous. I know nothing about my wife. I know nothing about my wife. Now, why she takes things personally, why this upsets her, why this triggers her. Like I knew nothing of what was happening in there and the things that she would assume by my action or my lack of action, by my words or lack of words, it does something to her. Something's happening over there that I don't understand. That is fucking crazy. And I found that very dangerous. Now, you have to understand I have 4 siblings. They're all separated, divorced 3 and 4 times. The last one is on 5, for Christ's sake. I have my family. I have my babies. I have my wife, who's my angel. I'm not going to become a statistic because I didn't know. You know what I mean? That's just my brain. So this workshop the workshop head of mine just went crazy. So, of course, I jump into that company, entire curriculum. I think they had like 11, 12 different workshops at a time. I took all their workshop. I wanted all the knowledge to not become a statistic. I did it for us as a couple. That's all I cared about. And then, of course, then at the end of that cycle, I ended up assisting their workshops. I was there in every freaking weekend almost in a workshop assisting for free, just to soaking the information, soaking the information, soaking the information. I was assisting. I was in it. Not getting paid, just want to be in the space, just want to learn. Again, for us. And this developed into such a fascinating understanding that I started to be able to decode things, and my friends would come with their challenges with their girlfriend. They go, "Oh, well, she doesn't feel safe." Well, what do you mean? Well, a woman needs this. Anyway, so that started the teaching machine. I was always a teacher, by the way. So that sort of exploded back into teaching this material. So much so that 2009, I started my company, Project Equinox, and it's a relationship coaching program company. And I help men and women, understand what we don't understand, what nobody's teaching us, what's, not out there, and why people struggle so much in a culture where everything is now 50-50, equality is everywhere. It should be easier. right? It should be easier now that we equalize the playing field, and it's the worst thing ever. There's a really good reason for this. So that's my business. That's my work since 2009. And I'm also, you don't know this, besides, I do, and we have to do trauma release work, right? Everybody's got trauma on their nervous system from childhood and bad relationships. So I can never get anybody, I can't get anyone in a healthy relationship until we clean up your baggage. And your baggage from childhood, your own parents, your family, like the decision you made about yourself, the world, life, and people as a 5, 6, 7 year old. We all are traumatized. Neglect, abandonment, abuse of all kinds. Some people have all of them, right? So that's the challenge. So neuro-linguistic programming stuff to clean up your nervous system, and then coaching relationship dynamics. The way I put it is I tell men I have the owner's manual for women. Nobody has the owner manual, and then vice versa. For the ladies, I have the owner's manual on men. Understanding how we operate, why, what motivates us differently, why, right? How we're actually made to be different, we're not supposed to be the same. That creates a lot of collision. We actually are complementary. It's the yin yang, it's the masculine and feminine. It's the two pieces that are completely apart, separate, coming together to create a new entity called a relationship, a marriage, whatever you call it. So, and by the way, it's not limited to straight couples, because gay couples, lesbian couples who succeed long-term relationships do the same thing as straight couples, and everybody else does. There's a yin yang to the dynamic. Period. Doesn't matter what's between your legs. It's who brings which energy that is complementary to the other. Right? It's up down. It's black white. It's yin yang. It's nature. Everything in nature is polarized. Everything has polarity. Everything that grows, flourishes, works is polarized. Nowhere in nature does the masculine and feminine act the same, have the same roles. But as human, we decided that we're smarter than nature. And what happens? It comes and bites you in the ass. It doesn't work. So there's a more traditional way to do this. Anyway, in the end, what I was going to say, that the part you don't know is, not only do I help people, men, women, men, women, whatever, into getting a healthy, natural, flowy relationship, because the data is both men and women are happier, healthier, live longer, make more money, more creative when they're in good relationships. This is on both sides, and this is the primary source of happiness in people's lives, is the quality of their love relationship. It's that important. So that comes first for a lot of people, or they realize that if that's not in place, successful people who can't sustain healthy love relationships feel unsuccessful. I mean, Los Angeles, a lot of money here, and a lot of miserable motherfuckers, because they're struggling with this shit, and their life sucks because of it. It's not the money, it's not the car, right? It's they're not able to bond and create healthy bonds or healthy families with somebody of their choice. So I'm going to show off here part of my training. Training? Well, I'm also an ordained minister. So on the other side of the program, some of my clients, I get to marry them myself. So I just did two this summer. I went to Vegas for one couple, and I went to Texas. Couples that I work with, a woman who could not attract men, was boss babe, didn't understand how that worked, went through the program, understood her dynamic of men, how to build relationship, knowing how to adjust their energy, because it's all energy. Masculine and feminine is not, it's not a gender thing, it's an energy thing. And we both have both. Is, how do you calibrate, which do you bring forth appropriately? Masculine at work, beautiful. Ladies, no problem with that, right? Just, you have to be masculine to get shit done. In relationships, show up in your masculine, see what happens. Masculine men hate it. You repulse them, right? You're irritating to them. They want nothing to do with you, right? So, and that's confusing to women, but men instantly see you coming. Masculine men don't want any of that. And then, so what typically happens is, a masculine woman, you'll attract feminine men, which you will really quickly learn to hate. So that's what we got here. Whew, sorry, that's a long run. That's how we got here.
Okay. So I do want to say that the last thing you said is something that I think is hilariously difficult for people to understand, well, at least women to understand.
Yep.
They want to be they want to have a masculine man when they seem more masculine,
Yep.
but uh, as you said, like almost or pretty much everything in nature has that polar opposite.
Everything in nature.
Yeah, has that, it needs that balance. And if
Yin
you're
yang. Yep.
very masculine, you're not going to attract a masculine person because it's, and they might come off that way. So we see like bodybuilders, right? They're
Yep.
two, a couple who are doing bodybuilding. There's still one of them that that doesn't quite fit what they look like, though.
Yep. No, for sure. For sure. For sure. And it's interesting. In my world, I'm at the gym 5 days a week. So I'm that guy. Right. And it's interesting as I years in the gym with men, and is like different. There's two types of men that train. It's very interesting. The men who are training, they're there to sort of discipline themselves, get their body in shape, get stronger, right? There's a conquering of themselves, doing this, conquering their bodies, getting, you know, making themselves physically strong, which makes them mentally strong, because what it takes to show up 5, 6 days a week and whip your butt, and it's all uncomfortable, and it's not about comfort, it's exact opposite, but there's a conquering of that the masculine men are after, and that makes them masculine. But there's the other half of men that are there because they want to be pretty, they want to be sexy, they want to attract women with their looks, right? And those are not masculine guys. They look like men. They look the same sometimes. They're usually smaller, leaner, because they look more like models. They want to be sexy, right? Now, nothing wrong with that, but what they do is they actually attract. These are the guys who attract masculine women who pick them with their eyes.
Mm,
Something very interesting. Masculinity picks with their eyes. Femininity picks with their ears. So a
mm,
natural feminine woman doesn't give a shit what a guy looks like. She's listened for his character, who he is, what he values, what is important for him in life, right? Like his value system, his character is what a feminine woman is looking for, because she wants somebody to provide, protect, cherish, give, support her. Does the guys who's 6 foot, 6'2" with a six pack, they just want to play. Those are the guys who support women. These are the guys who play with women. That's what they do, right? And women are silly enough to think he's cute. Oh, he's cute. How many times I hear, oh, he's so cute. Stop it. Who gives a shit that he's cute? Who is he? Cute's going to get you laid. Cute's going to get him laid, 6 times a week, by the way, because everybody's going after the cute guy. So this guy doesn't have to pick anyone, doesn't want to protect anybody, doesn't want to support anybody. It's all about him, 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 him. And they know this, right? They know exactly how it works. It's just get cute and sexy and get a little swag, and you get laid left and right. Welcome to our new culture, right? So those are two very different kind of guys.
and I think that the funny thing is a lot of women, so I think they say they want something but don't really know like what they're asking for, if that makes sense.
No,
Like,
no, no. They want traditional men. Provide, protect, cherish, give, support, help. That's what men do instinctively, naturally. And by the way, since the 60s and the feminist movement and this equality crap that's now is pushed every second of the day everywhere you turn to, that we people embrace just because they hear so much of it, right? Again, sounds more fair, equalize the plane. That's okay, fine. In business and money, sure. In love dynamic, it's the kiss of death. And what happened is, again, men have never, to this day, men are still expected to be traditional. With the roles of men has not, the roles of males has not changed since the beginning of times. You have to build your character, make something of yourself, right? You have like challenges your push through your fears, build something in the world. You have to have some kind of effect on culture, society, the world, in order to gain self-respect and be respected by both men and women. The guy who lives in the basement of his mother's house at 30 playing video games gets no respect, and he shouldn't. That's a freaking loser, right? So women expect men to be traditional. Go to work, build some shit, be valuable, be a high value man, make some money, provide, protect us, put your arms around my life, make me feel safe, right? That's never changed. Men still expected to do this, except now we teach women to not be traditional women. So women even either think they're better than that, they refuse to do that, or they don't want to do that, and they wonder how come men don't show up. Well, you want everything that he provides, that he killed himself to produce, and he should just pick you. You'd have nothing to do. You're just cute,
Yeah.
right? You should get a high value man. You refuse to cook. You refuse to clean. You refuse to be a mother. You refuse to be a wife. You refuse to you know be feminine and not push him around. And like I said, masculine women in our culture, every woman is raised to be masculine. Ladies, by the way, I'm not judging. It's just how it is. This is what I see every day. This is how I pay my house payments and my cars. This is not a hobby. Every day, when women are raised to be masculine, excuse me, they're combative, they're disagreeable, they're not cooperative, they're a little bit pushy, commanding, you know what I mean, stubborn, non-supportive, straight up disrespectful to men. By the way, all these are male qualities that women don't like in men. All what I just said are things that, are male traits that women don't like. But you will throw that on men, being masculine, thinking it makes you a boss babe. Okay. But that's not going to make men want to marry you, want to be around you, even want to spend time around you. It's opposite of what men are looking for. So masculine men, the traditional men, what they're looking for is traditional women. So ladies are going to have to reframe or rethink this entire approach, because what the culture says is you only know man. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. And if you're going to go, you only know man, eventually it'll bite you in the butt.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of funny if you're a woman who likes to be masculine and then you try to be with a masculine man, the similarity would be like if you have a job and you go to your job and then you try doing the exact same job as somebody else while they're doing it. That's
Right.
that's what that's like. Because if a masculine man is trying to do his job and then you're trying to do the same job,
Right.
both of you can't do the same job.
Uh, uh, yeah. And I'll say it a little bit differently. It's like, getting a job, right? Getting the job because you qualify for it, and then telling your boss how to do his job, and refusing to take his lead, refuse to do what he's requiring you to do, because somehow you know better. Well, that's relationships in our days now. So women, you wouldn't tell your boss, how to do his job. You wouldn't resist, his leadership. You wouldn't resist him in every way. You know what I mean? You get fired. But women, so you acquiesce to your boss, but you refuse to acquiesce to your boyfriend. And acquiescing means like, partnership, working it together, right? Respectfully working it together. But if you think you could push men around, be stubborn, right? Be uncooperative, being aggressive with men, bossy, pushy, men will just, by the way, it's interesting because there's an energy to this, right? And I deal with a lot of men because it's part of my business. And the man who are men, right, could smell that a mile away, and they don't even acknowledge these women. Like they don't say hi, they don't look at them, they don't smile, they just ugh, right? So we know it doesn't work, right? So okay, it's something like I said. My job is just to like shine the light on what's not working. But everything that's out there that's popular, that's supposed to be new and decent and better, is not. When it comes to dynamic relationships, love dynamics, equality doesn't work. Pushing men around will never work. Trying to boss them around, it's never going to work. Being resistant, stubborn, disrespectful, demanding, it's all the things that men will not stand for. The boys will, by the way. In my world, there's three types of men. There's boys, guys, and men. I'm not going to describe that, but the boys will happily just fold. The
Please.
boss, the boys just want you to lead. They want you to pay. They don't want to take care of you. They don't want to take care of anybody. They don't want, right? They want 50-50. Go girl, boss babe. While they're sitting on the couch, spooning the dog, smoking a joint, right? We know the gig. These are like grown men, that are children inside. They refuse to be men. And again, it's everywhere out there because we shame men of being masculine, so they go passive, and these passive guys don't produce very much, don't do very much, and so they're looking for powerful women to make their life more comfortable. So it's the same dance but reversed. That don't work.
If you
right?
could actually, I'd be interested in the three, guy, men, boys.
All
If you
right, so yeah, we'll go really quickly. So they all look the same, right? They're grown men looking, except a man is a man. And like I said, we talked about this earlier. Men are people, are young men who were raised right, which means they understand that they have to make something of themselves to be valuable to the world, to anyone, to themselves first. So they conquer their fears, they build their character, as building their character, that means they push through everything that's difficult. They discipline themselves to conquer something, accomplish something, build something. That gives them confidence. That gives them swag. This is when women go, ooh, look at him, right? Because he's got his shit together in every way, and he's got the confidence that he's able to do whatever the hell he wants, right? By the way, these are the guys who want like wives and children and families, and they build a kingdom, and they want to put their arms around everyone that they build, they bring into the kingdom and support and protect that.
Hmm.
That's natural male. So those guys are big, those guys are large, those guys energetically lean hard, right? The challenge for women with men like that, like this, is they're hard to connect to emotionally, right? They don't want to hear about your day. They don't want to talk about theirs when it's done. It's behind them. Right? They want peace. They want quiet. They want to recharge for the next day. But there's a way to bring them into their hearts. There's a way to bring them connected to bring them to connect to you, ladies, with a proper language I call Menglish. You have to approach them with the right language, respectfully, to bring them to give you the things that you need, like which is the connection and the sensitivities that a woman needs to stay connected to a man. So these guys are amazing. They do everything right. They want everything that you want. They're hard to connect with emotionally, and there's a way to do this. This is part of the owner's manual for the ladies. No big deal. A man who cares for you will actually change, flex, adjust, pivot for your comfort and your care. That's nature again, right? So the guys are a version of men, and they're masculine enough to have a job, right? To have a little shitty car, right? To sort of do life. Like they don't live in the basement of their parents' house, is what I mean, right? So they're manly enough to have a system. They self-sustaining, but they've been shamed by our culture with women. They don't lean in, they don't take charge, they don't ask women out, they don't, right? They're passive when it comes to women. They're afraid to be toxic. They've been told that being masculine is toxic, which is stupidest thing in the world. Masculinity is not toxic. It's masculinity is men stepping in to provide and protect women, children, and everything that's needs help, support, or is in danger. That's masculinity in itself. It's not toxic. It's actually the lack of masculinity in men, boys, I'll talk in a second, that makes them toxic. Okay, so guys are in the middle. And what happened is when you date a guy who's a guy, right? He's got his life together, seemingly. He's got three roommates and a shitty car and a good, a little regular job or whatever. There's all layers within that as well. They don't tend to live as large as the man, is what I'm saying. They don't tend to. And if they do, again, with the ladies, they suck because they don't want to take charge. They don't want to lead. They were told that that's you know toxic or irritating to the ladies. So they do shit like this. You ready? Yeah, you might have heard this before. They go, so like, do I get to see you this weekend? And then so like, where you want to go for dinner Saturday night? Oh, so and what kind of movie you want to go see? And so like, how about next Thursday? You think we should get together? Like we talked about. Like they put the women in charge, thinking they're being polite and nice guys, but women hate it. They absolutely freaking hate it because they're forcing women in the masculine.
Hmm.
They're forcing women in the masculine when she's in decision make decision about dinner, when to see you, whatever movie you want to see, whatever it is, right? You want to go to the beach? Don't freaking ask her that, right? Because like you put it on her, and often, women who this is opposite women find sexy, by the way. Anyway, so that's the guys. They're in the middle. The good news is the moment they meet a woman who wants to be treated like a lady, right? They adjust really quickly.
Hmm.
Now, there's again a signal for that. There's a language for that to trigger their masculinity to like light up because they were shamed out of it, but they're so easily rehabilitated. It's fantastic. Anyway, so men and guys, then now the boys. this is where everything goes to shit. So the boys typically, uh, there's a grown man who refuse to be man. There are grown men who act like children. They typically come from household without a father or a good father, or a good role model. So they didn't have somebody to role model to be a good man, right? Because men will raise boys to be appropriately masculine, not toxic. They'll raise boys to have accountability, honor, discipline, know how to team play, know how to work together. Do you know what I mean? They're built how to be loyal, all the male qualities that makes men really stoic and good men. That's what a father does to his son. But there's no fathers, the guys don't know how to be men. And what happened is there's no father and he's raised by his mother. His mother's going to raise him to be like a girl, sweet and sensitive and, talkative and talkative and talkative and talk about his feelings. And, and you hear guys talk about how they feel, right? I don't feel good. I don't feel like my job is helping me. My boss is a douchebag. And so they're very weak. They have no sense of self. And they've learned this is incredibly yuck. These men have been so overly cuddled and or babied and or had a woman take care of them so much, mother, because when a mother there's no father in the house, mom becomes mama bear. Mama bear is masculine as hell, right? She's provide protecting, right? She's the one who's the man, and she's gonna, basically castrate him in the process, raise him like to be a girl, right? Because she's a girl. So women cannot raise men that are healthy. We need both. I'm just saying. So that's just what it is. That's not my opinion. It's the data. So what happened to these guys is by the time they get to be teenagers, in their early teen even, when mothers constantly cuddling and, overbaby them, and they don't get away from their mothers because a man's primary job starting at the age of 10 is to get the hell away from his mom. This is how he has to build himself to become. And that's what the men typically take over to teach him how to be good man. Without that, there's no cutting the cord with mom. She keeps cuddling, protecting, over baby him, making his bed. He's 20 years old, right? Making him a sandwich, waking him up to go to school or to work. Like this is, right? And what happened is these men, after puberty, actually believe that women are here to serve them. Those are the boys. And those are guys that don't want to work. They don't want to take care of women. They don't want to pay. They don't want your children. They don't want to marry you. They just show up. They show up to seduce you, have fun with you, sleep with you. But within that, even worse than that, they're takers. As much as men are givers, provide, protect, give, cherish, support, naturally, instinctively, these guys are opposite. They take. So they take your time. They take your counsel. They take your money, they'll take your sex, they'll move into your house, they'll borrow you a car, they'll borrow money, they promise to pay back, they never do. They're really, 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 really disgusting to me. Now it's not their fault, they come from traumatized, no daddy, like there's a trauma in there in childhood. I get it. Except that the destruction they create in the world, right? They're takers, they're narcissists, it's all about them. They cheat, they lie. By the way, those are the toxic ones. They cheat, they lie, they con, they manipulate, they rape, they attack, they fight, because they don't have a sense of self out in the world that's healthy. So they assert their power on the weak and typically aim for women who they will seduce and take from and steal from and manipulate and if you're a masculine woman, do you want to give? You want to give? You want to give? You want to help him? He's just about to. He just needs a little help. He needs a little time. He needs a little. I'll put him through school. I'll help you fix his car. You can move in with me. You don't have to pay rent because he's struggling, right? Like masculine women will do this. So we flip the script. The woman's a man. The man's a girl. And eventually it's a disaster, right? Eventually, like the women suffer at the hands of these guys, and if you're a masculine woman, you'll keep attracting these guys. Again, yin yang energy, right? And you think that's men. That's not man. That's boys. Now, there's 30% of the population now, congratulations, culture, that 30% of men are boys now. Because single motherhood, no daddy, right? All that shit. 30% of men, those are ridiculous numbers. And this is what women are like, there's no men left out there. Well, actually, there are, but if you're masculine, you don't get to meet them. They avoid you, and you attract these guys, and you think men are shitty. You're right. Those guys are shitty. But you gotta open up your eyes and really see the game. But it's difficult when you're stuck on one side of the equation. You'll attract the opposite. And when we raise women to be manly, go girl, boss babe, that's fine. Except they don't know how to change gear in the world. They attract boys, and the relationships are hell. And the good men avoid the hell out of them.
Yeah, I never thought about that when you were saying that a masculine woman, she'll she'll say things like, there are no good men out there, but it's like
Yep.
there are. It's just you keep attracting the wrong ones. Like
Yeah.
you keep looking for
Yep.
the wrong ones.
Yep.
And I don't think a lot of people have come to that realization because, I get everything you're saying and
Yep.
it all makes 100% sense. But I never really thought about the fact that the women who are complaining about men are the women who are finding the wrong ones.
Well, they're masculine, so they attract the boys. Like I said, it's a ton of boys out there who don't want to work. They want it easy. They want what the women want. They want somebody to support them, make it easy, pay for them, loan them money. Like they want to smoke. They want to play video games. They don't want to work. Work is stupid. It's for like stupid people. I'm better than that. It's ridiculous, right? But they're literally entitled like this, and all they want to do is fuck around and take. They'll take. Again, they don't want to work hard. They don't want to discipline themselves. They're always looking for the shortcut, another scam, another pyramid scheme, another like because they don't want to put in the work and the time. They're feminine. They want ease and comfort. So if you're a masculine woman, you'll attract these guys, and you actually will believe that's men. It is not. It is not. It is not. So where are the good men? Well, you have to clean yourself up if you're a masculine woman and learn to this is the work that I do with my clients. Like you have to recalibrate your energy. So if you're a masculine woman, you're like this. You're all male, you're all pushy, you're aggressive, boss babe. It works for money. So, you have success. Good for you. Fantastic. Except your femininity is being neglected, is pushed back. The girl doesn't exist anymore. And men can smell it. I could just like look at a girl, you can see it on her face. You could hear by the tone of her voice, right? Girls at the gym, all dudes, and very irritating. And they could be as sexy, as beautiful as you care. No one cares because they're irritating and they're anything but bring you peace, right? They're pains in the ass, demanding, and somehow you need to meet me up here, kind of thing. Anyway, so just saying, especially the new generation. So the idea is not to change what you've built, who you are, all the goodies that you created in the world. That's not it. We keep that. We just bring this up. So in my world, a true boss babe is a woman who knows how to be masculine when appropriate, which is at work. Beautiful. But the line that I use is, after you're done with work, leave your balls at work and show up in the world as a woman because this is what, will attract the masculine men. The men that you want, that are traditional, that you want to provide and protect you, cherish you, give, support you, right? You can't throw your balls in their face. You cannot keep putting your balls in man's face thinking that's going to impress them. And that's where the mistake women think. Women think men are impressed by their balls and their money and their not at all. Real men do not give a shit about your money, your career, right? Your stuff. It's part of you. It's interesting. But if you think that's attractive, it's not. It's the exact opposite. So now how do you show up in the world after work, leaving your balls at work, leaving your balls in the car? I don't care where you leave them. Stop putting them in people's faces, in men's face. Stop showing up like a boss babe and, with that attitude that you don't need no one. Okay. If you keep saying you don't need no man, what do you think's going to happen?
You won't get one.
Okay. 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 Right. You think men are going to, for 1 second, like, so it's not that complicated, but you got to think it through, and a lot of women in our culture have been raised in fear of men. Like they make men the enemy. That's a really, really bad idea. They're your protectors, the men who what instinctively men do to provide and protect for women, you made the enemy. That is a bad idea, right? So, but if you listen to your mother who's made some horrible choices, right? Who's telling you men are dangerous, you can't trust them, they're cheaters. Okay, well, no, that's her shit, right? It's not your shit. But now there's fear around men, there's fear around relationship, there's fear about being cheated on, there's fear around fear everywhere, fear everywhere. 15% of women are talking shit about 100% of men, and everybody's listening and buying into it. So if you're gonna approach men in relationship like that is with fear, like they're the enemy, what do you think is gonna happen?
Mm.
You're done. Get some cats. You're done. Call it a day. Call it a day. Right? And you're gonna hang with your girlfriends and bond together and live your best life together until they all get married, because they will.
you,
Because women wake up, the ones who are not so damaged wake up and move on, and
you
you're
saying
left alone.
you saying something about a cat?
Oh,
I think earlier when you said saying that like a girl looking at a guy and saying he's cute or whatever, and I was like, yeah, if you want something cute, get a dog, right?
thank
Because
you.
that's the only thing that you're looking for, then
Yeah,
yeah, a dog can be cute. But if you need, somebody who can be your partner and be that protector and be somebody who you can depend on and trust and all that kind of stuff, then that's what a true spouse can do for
yeah.
you. I
Well,
am actually pretty curious on like how, so obviously like you talked about how um what is creating this boy mentality. How do you think, if you are an adult, let's say you're
yep,
mid 20s or older,
yep,
and you still have that boy mentality,
yep.
how can you change that?
It's very, 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 very difficult because, again, what you were taught, most likely, it's not 100%, but the numbers is, if you've been taught to be like that, you actually are embracing that, and you see nothing wrong with that, because you become the manipulator of everybody around you, and you manipulate women, you manipulate the system, you manipulate everything to make your life comfortable, and it works. So I typically don't see boys recover from boyhood. I've never seen it. I'm sure it's possible with a huge amount of inspiration or fear, right? That's how men move typically, out of, or doing something difficult, right? They have to be inspired or desperate. Right. So men will come at me with, my wife is now calling divorce. She's been taken for 15 years. She was unhappy. But the moment she says the D word, oh shit. Now desperation. Now they come at me. And I go, by then it's usually too late. Idiot. Spent 15 years telling you something, right? Anyway, so no judgments, as people are funny. But for men, if you're, I do a lot of men's work, a lot of mentoring men's work, and their confusion really comes into wanting to be a man that women can feel safe with, connect with, build with. And when they're soft, right, and they acquiesce to the women, right, this is where the guys will be basically my client there. The boys see nothing wrong with their ways. The guys really, have a machine of life in place enough, and they want more. They want to be more masculine, and they want to conquer their fears with women and actually understand how that works. So we step into building character, building a life, pushing through, right? Discipline yourself in whatever ways. And it's both financial, physical, mental, right? Like the first thing I do is throw them in the gym. You know what I mean? Because it takes discipline and managing your time appropriately, which typically will have you adjust your food intake and the quality of it, which then clears your brain, and also and then give you a sense of, okay, 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 and there's a momentum to that, and go build something out there. Do you know what I mean? And that's what men kind of step into. And then the moment they conquer themselves, they get sexy. And all of a sudden they have choice with ladies. They have choices. They don't wait for one to pick them. Oh, please, please. Right? Like the guys do, right? The simping is about that, right? Like I don't have any options. So I hope she likes me. I hope she likes me. I hope she likes me. They simp, thinking, if I'm sweet, sensitive, like a girl, like women say they want, right? They like me, and they usually end up in the friend zone. So anyway, so yeah, a guy, not boys, in my experience so far anyway, a guy is, well, to be the one who have the spark to go, I'm missing a piece here. I'm missing a piece. And if what is it? And this is where they step in. It's kind of fun.
I had a feeling that you had like some important like facts or information that you would also like to share. Can you just kind of get into that stuff?
With facts, with according to what, there's like 600 channels here.
Yeah, I just mean like anything like I know you were talking about just like some data research that you had and you were talking about things that you might say on the podcast or anything.
Yeah, yeah. So I have a lot. So again, none of this is my opinion, right? This the research, the data that we collected. I worked and I studied under 5 masters in different angles of human behavior, psychology, anthropology, chemistry of our bodies. Dr. John Gray, Mars and Venus. It's all about that the past 10 years. Love and sex and the what makes a relationship last. With intimacy and sexuality because we know it changes, right? Like, and then Dr. Pat Allen was a family child marriage counselor in Los Angeles here that I trained one-on-one with her for 3.5 years. Crazy shit. Like, so I have like all this data of all different angles, and within this research and data and numbers, like I said, 30% of men now in our culture are boys. Interesting, devastating, but that means 70% are guys and men. Okay, those are good. They're good stats, right? The one that came down just the past few months that she scared the ladies. Are you ready? Here goes. Morgan Stanley, the banking firm, right? The investment company, Morgan Stanley, conglomerate around the world, help people invest their monies in things that will make money in the future. So what they do is they do market research and look into the future to see where the next trend, the next money train is going to come from, is going to be, right? There's researches, there's ways to find out what's becoming popular, what's going to be popular per what's happening. So where do they tell their people to spend where to invest their money in the future, where it's going to be super popular and making a ton of money? Now, again, this is not political firm. These are bankers. They're just looking for hard data. Are you ready? This is the hard data. They're advising their investors to put their money into vineyards and pharmaceutical because the projected data is in the next 10 years. They actually say by 2030, which is 6 years from now, but and beyond, right? In about 10 years, 50% of women in the United States are going to be single and childless.
Hmm.
So the vineyard and that pharmaceutical antidepressant is where they're telling people to invest their money in. If that's not fucking scary, man, right? And again, why? How do we get here? Boss babe, don't need no man, don't want to be traditional, don't want to be a wife. You're better than that. Don't want to have kids. It's interesting to me, right? Like that's the biggest gift in life of a woman's life, a woman's like productivity is like to grow your own child and raise it as the next generation. That's for some reason like not as interesting at, being in a cubicle 40, 50 hours a week, making some money, coming home to a cat. Like we sold that lemon to the ladies. Now, again, there's an in between here, right? But there's no in between anymore. Feminism was about liberating women and giving them choice. Fantastic. Love it, right? It's not what it is anymore. Feminism is go girl, don't need no man, right? Be independent, be your own machine. And if you're lucky, maybe you'll find some guy to deal with you. Right? It's an anti-male movement. And so what's happening is this is what's happening. Now it's gone too far. And women who can't trust men can be vulnerable with men, are afraid of men, right? And all the shit that they hear all day long. It's not your fault. But I want to say, think for yourselves. Think for yourselves. Do you want family and kids? Then just go get a family and kids. Fuck the culture, fuck your feminist teachers, fuck anybody who's trying to make you wrong for it. You're a woman. You want babies, the most beautiful thing you could produce in the world, by the way. The next generation of human beings. That's lame. I don't get it. So again, I just go rethink it. You want to be a mom, you want to be a wife, go for it. Right? There's a lot of men who are traditional, like men are looking for wives and mothers. This is why they go abroad now, and there's that whole like passport bro thing that women are so angry about. Well, you did it, because men want family and children. The guys who have their shit together are traditional. They want traditional women. Women refuse to be traditional. They go, okay, let's go to Thailand. Let's go to the Philippines. I have a client. He just got married, a woman in Ukraine. Beautiful, tall and thin, by the way, right? Not uneducated, stupid, right? Doesn't speak English. Beautiful fucking woman, right? You went to Ukraine. And this organization in Ukraine. If men are listening, this organization in Ukraine where they actually will hook you up with Ukrainian women who are on the market.
Those emails are true.
They exist. So he just got married. He went out there. They went back and forth for about a year and a half. You know what I mean? And he married her. It's just it's just so. Now that's not men's fault that women here don't do this. They refuse to play the game or play it. They refuse to be traditional, and men who want to be traditional will find women who are traditional. And guess what? In Eastern Europe, they're traditional. In the East, in the West, yeah, in the East, they're traditional. They're raised to be wives and daughters. One of my buddies at the gym, he's 24 years old, right? Much, much younger than me. 24 years old. A little bit dorky, no swag, but he's got this entrepreneur guy. He's got a BMW and he sells shit on the side online. So he's got a little machine that he built for himself. Good for him. Good for him. That's manly, right? And he's Middle Eastern and he was born here, but his entire heritage is back there. So last summer, this is a year ago, he went back home to the homeland, to the motherland, to kind of touch his ancestry and some of his families that's still left behind there. Do you know what I mean? So he went to revisit his past. So makes complete sense. 24 years old. He met this girl who doesn't have any social media, doesn't know anything about TikTok and Instagram or Facebook, all that shit, right? She's like, that's not what they do there, even though it exists there. Like, she's like, she doesn't want any of that. She was raised to be a woman. She was raised to be feminine and ultimately to be a wife and a mother. He goes, you know what? Like, we started dating, and if I leave her alone, he goes, I'll take her to my, because he was there for about a month and a half the first time. And actually lived there. It wasn't just traveling or visiting. He lived there for a month and a half or 2 months. He goes, I would go to, because he kept hustling. So he goes, I would leave her the apartment. And he goes, you know what happened? Every time I came back, the house was clean and she made some food with a smile on her face. She was so happy to be able to do this for me. He goes, like, I've never met that before. I've never, ever have seen that before. He goes, if you leave it alone, she does what a woman who wants to be a mother and a wife does. You know what I mean? And she's like, she doesn't care about social media. She doesn't care about, you know, being a boss babe, like it makes her happy to be a girl. And what she wants is to find a man who's going to give her that, right? He goes, so he was flabbergasted. He came back. He goes, I met this girl, dude. You don't believe, like, I've never met a girl like here, like that here in Los Angeles. No kidding. Anyway, so guess what? He just imported her. He went back and forth a half a dozen times, and he just flew in. Now they're not married yet, but he's not letting that girl go. And he wasn't looking for that. He just tripped on that. But that's how they're raised over there. Just saying. Now, ladies, this doesn't make me happy to say any of this. It's quite devastating. It breaks my heart because, these are the things that are happening because we put things in your head that don't work. You've been sold a lemon and now you're mad at it and you want to blame men for this. No. Blame the system, blame feminism. It's gone too far. And again, if you make men the enemy, how the hell do you think this is going to turn out? Just saying.
Yeah, I 100% agree, and those stories are they sound pretty accurate. But yeah, it's actually about time to wrap up, man.
Yeah, we can
Thank
do
you so
this.
much for
Yeah,
all the
absolutely.
stories and everything, because I think it's definitely much needed for people to know this kind of stuff, and
Yeah,
people need to understand the difference between um what they think is realistic for a relationship and what's
Yeah.
not. So everything you said was very
Yeah.
insightful.
Well, like I said, I still my opinion, though I have professional opinions, but this is I teach nature and science, psychology of human beings. We know what works best in the end. And again, I'll constantly get accused by feminists to like, should we dumb it down for you guys? Should we go back to the 50s and just wiggle our asses? I'm like, that's not what I'm saying. That's fucking rude, by the way. That's not what I'm saying. There's a modern way to do this, but it is based in the classic, more traditional stage. Because again, men are traditional. They have to be in order for everything to keep working. So how do we flex back into this with a modern style? But making men the enemy ain't gonna work, right? So anyway, so is it okay? I have a gift for listeners.
Go
Is
ahead.
that cool? Is that
Yeah,
okay?
this is the time for you to, give everybody your info and
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you. So I do a lot of podcasts for that reason. By the way, thank you for helping me because my God mission, I have a good business, right? I have a good business because everybody's struggling. So I'm busy, but that's not the big goal. The big goal is I have a God mission. God is right there for me. Don't ask me why. He's just like up to the right, looking down. Anyway, and this is the mission. This is the big goal. This is the big mission is that it's my job along with other disruptors. Right now it's you to spread hope out there. There's a way to make this work. There is hope for women to find good men. There's hope for men to find good women. There are people out there all struggling because they bought into a belief system that doesn't work when it comes to love dynamics in our culture. Women are hurting, men are lonely. And men complain about the same thing women complain about. Where are the good women? They're all crazy. They're all bossy. Nobody knows how to be a girl. Women like, where are the men? Nobody's stepping up, right? So this is what's not working. So my job, the big God mission is to teach this to the masses and change the cultural pace because everything out there right now is going to help you do nothing well in relationship. It actually will keep you from getting to any healthy relationships. And this is what's happening. And this is what I'm dismantling. Anyway, so I do podcasts for this to bring hope to both men and women that this is workable, this is fixable. You just don't know how, and you have to push away from everything, the fear and the fear and um the agenda to keep us in fear and keep from being able to build healthy relationship. Because if you can't build healthy relationship, you can't have healthy families who can raise some healthy children who actually can be healthy enough to bond with other human beings in adulthood and create their own healthy families and healthy, right? And when family system falls apart, culture falls apart. Look what's happening. So again, so that's the big mission. Anyway, so thank you for helping me spread that out there. And in doing podcasts, as much as I do, I notice there's two types of listeners. And I have two different gifts for depending on what kind of listeners you have. You ready? So, first step listeners are people who kind of like are dabbling around looking for information, right? Kind of confused a little bit, like I don't know what's going on here. So they're looking for information. So they listen to you and me, and right, or out there looking for information, trying to poke around with what's all this may be about, right? So for those listeners, I'm going to send you directly to my email. My email is Andre Coaching, the number one at Gmail. Andre Coaching1 at Gmail. And in the subject text, the text box for the email subject, just write Irresistible Book. And what I'll do is I'll send you it's a book that I sell on my website. Is called The 5 Feminine Qualities High Quality Men Find Absolutely Irresistible. I sell it online. If you email me Irresistible Book, I will send it to you free. It'll come as a PDF. Now it's a workbook. There's about 30 pages. There's stuff for you to write in. This is written with my work with men. This is what men say about what they find irresistible in women. And it's nothing that you can imagine, ladies. It's not your height. It's not your boobs. It's not your hair. It's not your butt, right? It's your energy and the quality that you bring that makes men melt. So beautiful gift. Like I said, I sell it online. It's free for you listeners who want information. Second type listeners are people who either resonated what I said or ready to take action. They're ready to take action. They're action takers. So if you're an action person, Andre Coaching One at Gmail, and in the subject box, write "Talk Now." And what I'll do, I'll send you a link to my calendar, and you'll book yourself an hour. I call it exploratory call, where we'll dive into where you're stuck. Where you're stuck. You know, people typically pull the trigger on doing this type of work because they realize that they keep doing the same loop, same freaking result, right? Same different person, same result. Can't succeed, right? It's always a fight. It's always, you know, and when you start saying men are all or women are all, they never, they always, it's you. It's you. You're stuck in a loop. So in that call, in 15 minutes, I'm really good at this. We'll decode what happened to you when the wheels came off. Always in childhood, where you made a decision that you're not good enough, that men are dangerous, that you can't trust anybody, that women are whatever. But the liberating part about that, again, this on me, is you'll realize, because this always what happens, that there's really nothing wrong with you. You're a product of your past. And if you're a product from your past and there's nothing wrong with you, we could fix it. It's beautiful. This is the energy work, the trauma work I'm talking about. And so from that place of, hey, this is fixable. What's the dream? What's your dream life? What is the dream? Family, kids, or companionship, or whatever, right? And then I'll tell you different ways that you could get invested and work with me. Again, no pressure, you know, but this call alone for some people, whether we work together or not, is often super liberating because you realize you're okay. You're okay. You just have to learn. You don't know how, and you've been polluted by, you know, the events of your past.
Well,
Anyway,
thank you so much for offering that and letting people
sure.
know that they have a way to be able to change who they are and the things that they've gone through, because there's so many people who feel like they get, as you were talking about, like they're stuck in this loop and they don't know they're in the
Yep.
loop because they haven't had an outside source like you inform them that they're in that loop. So
Yep. Yep.
it's great to have somebody like you out there that it's helped.
Thank you. I think so. And again, this is my God mission. Like, you know, right now I'm doing a person at a time, small groups at a time, but eventually it has to be like Oprah big. Oprah big. That's the big dream. That's the mission. That's the calling. Okay. I'm game. Let's do it. But right now it's this way. Okay. Onward and forward and see what channels open up
Awesome. Well,
in
thank
this
you
mission.
for sharing that, and thank you for everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.